we now move to different method types. As we've seen for now, we've worked with the object methods, like for example the set face color and the set eye color. The fact that this takes in the self as argument here simply tells us that it's an object method, and with this object method we could modify the object's attributes. For example, so with the set face color, we could modify the face color attribute. With the set eye color, we could modify the eye color attribute. Now let's define a separate method which we'll call set, or rather is eye equal face. So we have that, and then we return self dot face color equals self dot eye color. Now the aim of this method right here is to tell us whether the eye color is the same as the face color. So that's it. And obviously we are gonna take in the current object because we are gonna do some modifications, or rather because this output would depend on that object's face color and also its eye color attribute. Run that. We have the sad. Let's take this now. Let's say we have sad dot is eye equal face. Let's say we'll do that, and that's it. You see here we have true, telling us that for the sad, let's go back to sad, we actually have the eye and the face the same. Let's print out this sad. Oh, we printed out already. Print the face color. Okay, we had the face color and the eye color here, they were both black, so that was fine. Now if we modify this to red, run it, we still have double red. This is an error. The error comes from the fact that we didn't take this into consideration. That's eye color. Run it. See, they have now two different. We look at the is eye equal face. We see now it's false. Also note that instead of calling this is eye equal face like this, that's defining the object, and then with the object we call the method, we could simply just have the smiley itself. So we could define smiley, which takes in false, face color equal red. That's it. So here we could define this class like this. With this constructor, we define the class. Once we define the class, we now call on this, and then we run it. See, it gives us the same output. We could also define just the class like this, and then we pass in sad. So now you see the reason why whenever we get this self right here, we're treating it as an object. So this is actually an object we're passing in. So this can be seen clearly from the fact that we've just defined the class name here. So we just define the smiley, and then we call the method, and then pass this object which has already been defined. So this object sad, which has been defined right here, we pass it, and it just acts as if it were the same as what we had done previously. That was, we had sad dot is eye equal face, and that was it. Let's print this out. Print this out, and there we go. See, we have the same results. From this we could also something like this. Instead of having the sad here, let's copy this from this, take this off, on that, and see we have exactly the same results. Now also note that there are some methods in a class which do not need to make use of, for example, this attributes of that object, or there are some methods which don't need to take into consideration the fact that the modification we have to do in that method will depend on the object with which we are working with. A simple example could be, suppose that we are given now another attribute, that is the self.radius. Self.radius, give another attribute radius, pass in the radius right here, By default, let's say it takes a value of 5. So we take a float, we have a value of 5 by default, and then we want to calculate the area or head area. Head area takes some self, and then we want to return the self dot radius times, say, 3.14. It's just an approximation. The area of a circle is pi radius square, so here we have this radius, let's say 3.14 times the radius square. That's the power of, to the power of 2. Okay, so with this we could compute the area, the head area of the smiley. Run this. Let's just take for this happy. So we have happy dot head area. Call that. There we go. We could define the smiley such that it has the radius. So we could have radius equals 2, for example, and that's it. But then what if we want to define a separate function which just calculates the area based on the radius? So we have this area function which takes in the radius. So it takes in the radius, and then it returns pi times the radius square. After defining this kind of function, which doesn't actually depend on the current object, that's a static method, we have to include this decorator right here. The way we put out decorators is by using the at, and then particularly or specifically for this decorator, it's called the static method. So doing this, we run that, and there we go. We see that we use this class's name, that's smiley, and then we pass in the value 4 directly, and here we don't even need to construct the smiley, and also we don't need to pass in any object into this method for us to get an output. And also, as we had seen from the beginning, we have, or we could create attributes which are specific to the class. So we could have an attribute, say, is face, or its upper body, its upper body, and then we set that to true. So this is specific to the class. Now, if we want to define a function which takes this and then does some modifications, like say, if we want to say its body or its upper body, there you have to pass in this CLS. That's to specify that we're passing in the class, and here we return simply is upper body, is upper body. So there we go. Now yeah, let's take this off. We have the smiley dot is upper body. Run this. We have this error. Now we need to put in CLS. Yeah, CLS is upper body, and that's fine. We get into this output because this matches with the method name. So let's change this, upper body, and yeah, upper body. Run that again, and that's okay. So with this, we've seen the 3 different method types: the class methods, the static methods, and also the instance methods.